Hello and welcome to the True North Show. I'm your host, Megan North, and I'd like to thank the sponsors of the show, Quantum Awakening, Beth Lewis, and Anne C. Clark. Today, I am joined by a woman who is empowered, inspirational, and a really, really lovely person. Julie Ann Meyer is a powerhouse in modern media, visibility strategy, and transformational storytelling. Serving as co-CEO of E360 TV and founder of ARION TV, she helps thought leaders, entrepreneurs, and changemakers expand their reach, elevate their message, and monetize their brilliance through the power of streaming television. A best-selling author, sought-after speaker, and trusted media consultant, Julie Ann guides clients in building high-impact platforms that position them as respected authorities in their fields. With a rare blend of business insight and creative direction, she partners with visionaries to craft professional, monetizable shows and standout content in today's crowded digital space. Her on-screen presence is equally magnetic. As host of Seizing Your Greatness, she brings raw, powerful stories to life, amplifying voices of resilience, leadership, and purpose. Her conversations spotlight those who challenge the status quo and inspire real transformation. Through her coaching programs, consulting, and platform leadership, Julie Ann empowers others to be seen, heard, and paid for the value they bring to the world. Welcome to the show, Julie Ann. I'm thrilled to be having this conversation with you today.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here, so thank you for the invitation.
You're very welcome. It was not, it's funny, it's sort of been a little while since, we're into season 3 of the show, but it's funny, I kept thinking, when's going to be the right time to have you on the show? So it just worked out perfectly. And actually, this is the second time around that we tried to do this.
Yes, second time around.
It's lovely to have you.
Thank you.
So let's dive in. So can you share with us the defining moment that led you to pursue this true passion and purpose, this journey that you are now on?
I'm really glad that you specified this journey because I've been on so many, and my true purpose is to have fun and create impact. And I've done that so many different ways, but this in particular was kind of, it was universal. It was, as in like the universe was calling me in to do this. I had been fighting it for, I don't even know how long. And to be totally honest, I was really good at being in the health and wellness sector and working in that capacity. But then all of a sudden, every single door just kept shutting and every single door of media kept opening. And I thought, okay, universe, I got you. I hear you. I will follow. And ever since then, everything has sort of taken off and I'm in flow again, which is really the way that it makes life a lot easier if you're not trying to paddle upstream the entire time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting because when people talk about their passion and purpose, I love that word flow does come up, because when you lose time and when you lose track of time of what you're doing, that is when you're in flow.
Exactly. It's so, I've experienced it in different ways, but with this particular venture working in streaming television, I'm constantly, it's on my mind all of the time and not in an annoying way. It just sits there. It's something I think about in the background, like how can I create this, or how could I create a better experience for a host, or how could I create more income doing this? All these different things are always running in the background. So for me, that's flow and fun because it isn't work in the traditional sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really interesting when people are thinking about their passion and purpose. One of the things I work with my clients is it a hobby or is it really your passion and purpose? Because something that is a hobby, sometimes people think I'm going to turn it into something that is going to bring me income, but then they lose the love of it because it has that mindset shift.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you brought that up because not everything we do for fun is intended to be what we do full time.
Yeah.
And, ultimately, I literally said this on a call with clients earlier today. I said, you are exchanging your life for this. You better make sure it's worth it. And, you know, I think that most of the time we should be having as good of a time as possible. But sometimes we confuse something that we enjoy as something more than that, and really it's not. It's like going to Disneyland every day. You don't want to go every single day. It's fun every once in a while, but not every day.
Yeah, yeah. I love that. And it's so funny that you were saying that to your clients this morning. So very on point. And so how did the opportunity for you to be co-CEO of E360 TV and then ARION TV come about?
Well, it's one of those things. It was interesting because I was working. I had my first TV show, and it was called Own Your Wellness, and I had a base audience of 200,000, which is really phenomenal. But I was bored. I kind of outgrown it. It wasn't really who I was anymore, and my business coach at the time said, "Why don't you teach people how to do what you do?" And I thought, that's a really good idea. And so I created a program to teach people how to how to have their own show and how to monetize it. And all of a sudden, Aaron, who is the founder of E360 TV, reaches out to me and says, "Hey, Julie Ann, have you thought about having your own network?" And I thought, well, if I'm teaching people how to do this, I should have a place to put them. And so that's how ARION came about, was through that. But then I just was really successful in bringing on new show hosts. In fact, I outdid E360 TV as a whole as my one person. And so eventually Aaron reached out to me again and he said, I'd really like for you to be like maybe the only president of E360 TV instead. And I said, this probably sounds really bad, but I said, I was waiting for you to ask me. And I really was, because I could feel it coming. It wasn't like, it's about time. Don't you see my magnificence?
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was, I could feel it on the way.
Mm.
And so we created a position for me as chief strategist officer. And I was really doing well with that. And then one day I came back from a trip and I was telling him what I was planning on doing with my network that is distributed by E360 TV. And he said, you should really be the CEO. And the next day he offered me the position. So,
Wow.
yeah.
And isn't it interesting when you were saying before about how in your other true passion and purpose, like prior to this, a lot of doors were starting to close and then other doors were opening. When it's right for us, it just also feels right.
It does feel right. And I was still trying to fit a square peg in a round hole because that's where my education was. That's what I'm known for. That's, what I've done. And I chose this. So it was kind of like I made my bed and now I need to sleep in it. No, you are allowed to change your mind as many times as you want.
Yeah.
And my cousin, Darcy, who I adore, she says, it's just dress up. Life is just dress up. What are you going to dress up as today? Like, who are you going to be today?
I
It's
love
fun.
that.
It makes it more of a game.
Yeah, definitely. And it also gives you, I think, that feeling of flexibility that if you try something and it doesn't work out,
Yeah.
then close that door and look at what else is open.
Exactly. I think with that, there's a little bit, you have to be careful though, because fear can set in and you can
Mm,
close the door before it's ready to be closed. I
mm,
do feel like sometimes we're given challenges because that's the next evolution of who we are and our soul to get to wherever it is we're going.
mm.
And, and you're going to get the lesson one way or another. So might as well get it out of the way now.
Let's get it up front so that then it's done.
Exactly.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I also think the other thing too is that what I particularly talk to my clients about is, your inner circle. So when you've got these thousands of ideas going through your brain, have an inner circle that you can trust, two or three people to talk through what you're thinking.
Yes.
Because that way, then if you get feedback and challenge, because I always think you need people that are going to challenge you
Mhm.
as well as support you, but also you're not getting out there to say, oh, I'm going to change my career, and you blast it to 100,000 people. And then if it doesn't work, one,
Yeah,
you push against it because you're thinking, well, I've told everyone. But also
exactly.
then as well, there's some embarrassment and, those sort
Mhm.
of things. Whereas if you've got that inner circle, I think that sometimes it serves you well because you can talk things through. And if it doesn't work, then there's only a couple of people that you need to explain it to.
Exactly. And those people are there to support you and they don't think less of you. They're excited that you tried. And I think a lot of us are stuck in this idea of failure, but to me, failure is not even trying in the first place. And I love having my own inner circle. And for me, these people, they challenge me on the ideas that they agree with as well. So it's not just, what about this? What if you tried that? And they always have something bigger than what I plan. So, it's a good thing. It's fabulous to have people who see something in you that maybe you don't see in yourself yet. And for them to point that out really does make a difference.
And thank you also for just sharing the moment when Aaron said to you that you should, and you said, I've been waiting, because I think sometimes when we're entrepreneurial brain and we're constantly thinking of different ideas, and when we feel aligned, sometimes we feel like our ego is taking over. But
Yeah.
actually the way that you responded to that was actually, well, no, this is really aligned. I've just
Mhm.
been waiting for you to ask me. And so it's a beautiful way for you to position that.
Thank you, because it really wasn't, oh, look at me, I'm so fabulous. It really
No.
was, I just knew that that was what was next. And at some point, if I didn't receive any sort of offer, I would have pitched it. So
Yeah.
either
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. So it was meant for you. It just came
Yeah.
in the way that it was meant to. So let's talk about mental health and well-being. So as you consistently follow your passion and your purpose, the one that you're on now and the ones that you've been on before, how do you prioritize your mental health and well-being while you're in that flow?
So I think that having good routine and good habits in that space is really important for when it isn't going well, because the last thing you want to do is meditate if you feel really icky. The last thing you want to do is, I mean, for me, sometimes when I'm in a bad space, it's hard for me to remember to eat. So if I have these built in habits and things that I do for myself, then when the times are up, I just automatically do it. It's like brushing my teeth. I don't question whether I'm going to brush my teeth or not. I do it because I like my teeth. So same thing with taking care of my mind and my soul is, I have to be grounded. I have to have quiet time. I have to be alone for a certain amount of time every single day. And I turn off my phone. My phone is always on silent. And that's a habit I picked up a long time ago, because people, I check it enough. I'll look at it enough that I will get back to somebody within a few hours anyway. And to me, I grew up in the era where we didn't have cell phones. So we lived all those years without them. It's okay if I don't answer my phone right away. But as far as, my practices, they've kind of evolved and changed as I've grown and changed. And some of them have grown deeper and some of them come and go. And it really does just sort of depend on my headspace. But like the non-negotiable for me is working out in a community, like in classes, because I'm around my sisters and it feels so good to be in that community. And I don't want to let anybody down. So I'm going to go no matter what, even though I know how to work out. I was a personal trainer, so I know how to do all that, but I go because I go for the community and I go for the ambiance and the accountability. So I just there's a saying, I run to burn off the crazy, and I take my classes to burn off my crazy.
I love that. I love it. Is there anything else that someone has given you, like oh, you should do this for your mental health, and you've tried it and it's been a disaster? You think, oh my gosh, this is terrible.
You know, I've never I've never found anything that's been a disaster per se, but there are things that I will never do again. And
Mm,
there are certain things that I've had to learn how to do, because things like affirmations,
mm,
most people swear by them, but for me, the longest time, it just felt hollow. And I really didn't realize that part of doing the affirmation was the feeling and the intention behind it. So until I figured that out, I was just wasting my time telling myself how wonderful I was and not believing it.
yeah, yeah, that's a
So
beautiful example, actually.
yeah. So for
Yeah.
me, that would be the one that I was like, but it just took me learning more and figuring out how to make it work for me.
Mm. And so if you do meditations, do you do guided meditations, or do you just you sit in the space yourself? Like, how do you meditate?
So, I'm a huge fighter against meditation. I'm not going to lie. It's one of those things that I need for my mental health, and I still fight it. So I really meet myself where I am, and I've done guided. I will sit and say Om. I will sit in
Mhm.
silence. I'll do walking. I'll lay down if I need to. I just kind of meet myself where I am so that I have those moments of stillness, and so I can plug or unplug my mind a little bit and just really connect to source, because that's where all the inspiration comes from.
Yeah, yeah. And thank you for sharing that, because I think that that's a really important point, because uh, people around mental health and well-being, and particularly meditation, I think a lot of pressure is put on. What? You don't meditate? That's it. But I
Exactly.
think it's that experimenting and finding what works for you.
Hmm.
What does actually, and if meditation is absolutely not for you, then experiment and find something else that you can do that works for you.
Exactly. There's more than one way to feel good in your own skin.
Mhm.
And, not one size fits all. So, absolutely, and if you sit down for 3, 5 minutes, whatever, and that's all you do, then that's all you do.
Yeah.
And, some people are firm on journaling. I'm huge
Mhm.
into a gratitude list. I love doing my gratitude list.
Yeah.
And I always pick something different every day.
Mhm.
So, 3 different things every single day. And it
Mhm.
really does change how I perceive the world, because what you focus on expands. And so if I'm looking for the good, then I keep looking for the good. I'm going to find it. It's all there.
Yeah, absolutely. And gratitude is so powerful as well, because I'm clairaudient, so I get messages from my mum. So I hear my mum,
Oh, I
because
love
both
that.
of my parents have passed, but my mum is in my ear a lot. But then I get messages clairaudiently, and it's really interesting, because I know that when I'm grateful, and I'm constantly grateful, I can hear them cheering. And so it's like that energy that when we are grateful for even just the smallest things, our
Hmm.
guides and our angels and source love that, because our energy rises. So then they go, oh, well, she's really happy about that. What else can we give to her? Like, what else can we put in her path?
Yes, exactly. Exactly. It's kind of like an ordering service where you order something and you get what you order. So.
Yes, yes. My this is very Australian, but I'm sure that you would know what Vegemite is.
Yes.
Yeah. And so as a child growing up, there was an ad on TV called "You're a Happy Little Vegemite." So it was like, "You're a happy little Vegemite, as bright as bright can be," like da da da. And so my mum has told me that every time I'm paid by a client or some money comes into my business account, to sing that song. So in my head, I'm like singing, "I'm a happy little Vegemite."
I love that. I think that another one of my clients has recently started reconnecting with his younger self, and I think that that is so important. He's really big in talking about play, and how as entrepreneurs and powerhouse people, we lose that element of play and lightness and fun. And
Mhm.
And I think that that is so important to life. And just so I love that you sing that song because it's light, it's airy, it's fun. It reminds you of, childhood good times, and
Yeah.
it will create more of flow in that direction as well, because that's the energy you have behind it. So I love it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. And so with the clients that you're working with, what can you share some of the things that you help them with and you guide them with in relation to, I'd love to know about confidence, because I would
Yeah.
imagine that with camera and TV,
Yeah.
your self-sabotage comes in, and I suspect client self-sabotage comes in. So what sort of things would you give advice to for your clients about confidence?
The one thing that really sticks to mind is that no matter who you are, you're there's an uncomfortability about being vulnerable, and being in front of the camera is being vulnerable. And it does not matter if it's your job full time and you're a multi-millionaire, billionaire, actress, singer, whatever, they still struggle with the same things that you and I do. And for me, the thing that, my point in saying that is that you're never alone. It doesn't ever really fully go away. But
Mm,
if you don't make it about you and you make it about the person that you're talking to and you're serving or talking with, then it makes life a lot easier, because you're not performing any longer. You're being authentic. And that resonates way more than somebody
mm,
who's trying too hard and trying to be something that they aren't. Nobody wants that. They want to see the real person. They don't care if you mess up. Nobody's looking to see you mess up. They're cheering you on. 9 times out of 10, they don't notice. And if they do happen to notice, they don't care. And if they do care, they're the ones that are sitting at home on the couch, not you. So does
yeah.
it really matter if they care?
Mm.
It really doesn't.
That is fantastic. I love that, because I find that if I'm watching something, someone's presenting something and they're in that perfect mode, I don't feel connected to them,
No, it's a
because
plastic
yeah,
person. Yeah, it doesn't
yeah.
feel real. It's, are you real? Are you a hologram? What's going on?
Or is it AI now? Because that's the question that often I look at too. I think, is that actually really that person? Because I think, wow, the voice is too perfect, the script is too perfect.
Hmm.
Is it actually AI, or is it really that person?
Exactly. And the other thing too that is one of my favorite sayings is, perfect is boring and nobody wants to be friends with somebody who's perfect. So
Mm,
stop trying to be that, because nobody is. And that's where the beauty is in those imperfections. That's where
mm,
the real beauty is. And showing yourself. And if you can laugh at your own mistakes, then other people will laugh with you. What you don't want, especially if as a show host or somebody who is going on somebody else's show or whatever the case may be, you're on camera, is when you cringe and somebody feels sorry for you for making the mistake. That's the only time that I think, oh, well, we could have done that better. Let's do that better next time.
yeah,
Because if you just laugh and maybe call it out or let it go, either one of those, then people won't feel bad for you
mm,
and they can still appreciate what you're sharing.
mm, mm. And it's probably a bit of advice actually for people just generally, is
Oh yeah.
when you're at work or whatever you're doing, just have a bit of
Yeah.
lightness to it. And if you say the
Well,
wrong thing, it doesn't matter.
it really doesn't. I think about, we were talking about this the other day. I used to live in New York City, and there was a couple times that I almost fell down the subway steps because of slipping, or my pant leg got caught, or just whatever the reason being. And my first thought was, oh my gosh, who saw me? Not,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, my femur is hanging out. There's none of that. It was just, so we're all in the same boat.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And you spoke before about just taking a couple of deep breaths and those sort of things
Yeah.
too. Is that just taking one breath, just stopping and consciously breathing, it completely rewires our brain, it calms ourselves. So in those moments too, it's just, let me just take a quick moment, a quick breath, and
Mhm.
then I'm going to recenter.
I'm famous for that. My ex-husband used to always say, that's a really good breath, because he knows too that that does help calm your nervous system. It does help you bring you back to the present, because usually what we're fretting about isn't even actually happening in this moment.
Mm-hmm.
So really we're upset about nothing.
Yes. Yep. Or we're worried about what someone else might think, and then no one's even noticed, or the person hasn't
Yeah,
even thought that anyway.
exactly. They have no idea. They're like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, and all that energy that you've put into that. So
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, let's hear from the sponsors of the show. So we'll take a little short break, and then we'll come back. And I would then love to just explore with you a little bit more, how do you stay grounded? Because I think that that's really important.
Mhm.
And look, there's so many other things that I want to explore with you. So let's just hear from our sponsors, and we'll be back in a short moment. Welcome back. Julie Ann, I'd love to know, you touched briefly on being grounded, but
Mhm.
we're about to go into the holiday season, the crazy,
Yay.
but also the crazy season. We can be
True.
seeing family that may be triggering us. We could be catching up with people that we don't really want to, but we feel obliged. So
Mhm.
from a grounding point of view, like, what sort of things do you do when you're in a normal, nice space, and then when you're feeling a little bit out of control? Is it different, or is it the same?
It is definitely different. It takes a little bit more when I feel out of control to bring me back. So, but the number one thing is I've realized is it's okay to say no. It's 100% okay to say no. If I don't feel like doing something, then I don't have to do it. I don't care who it is, and I don't care what time of year it is, because holidays are not easy. And even if you enjoy them, even if they're fun for you, but then you add in the crazies, you add in the death of somebody, you add in all these life things that make it so much harder. It's 100% okay for you to protect your own energy.
Mm,
And for me, if I were to say go to an event that I don't really want to, but I feel obligated to go to, I
mm,
have an out. I have a way that I show up and then I can leave when I need to.
mhm,
And that way I don't feel like I have to stay for the entire thing. I've made my appearance. I've said hello. I've spent time. I've broken bread, whatever the case may be.
yeah,
But I always walk away when I'm ready,
mhm,
because um, yes, my life isn't just about me, but it also isn't just about them either. So
mm,
ultimately I have to make sure that my own peace is protected as much as possible. And I'm very blessed. I happen to live now in the Pacific Northwest, which is actually where I grew up, but where I live now is up at in the Olympic Peninsula. And that means if you've ever seen the movie Twilight, that's where I live. And it's all trees. It's so beautiful. So out my living room window, I can see the ocean, and out of my kitchen window, I can see the mountains. And so I just go out and I walk around. It doesn't matter if it's raining. There's a rainforest nearby. There's all sorts of nature, and that automatically grounds me. But if I'm really in a funk and something is not right, I will listen to music that pumps me up and makes me feel good. And that works really quickly. And if I have time, I will watch something inspirational, either on TV or YouTube, something that really fills my cup and reminds me of why I'm here versus feeling sorry for myself or feeling crazy because, I've put myself in a situation where maybe it's not the best for my own mental health.
I love that. And it's really interesting when you said about, turning up at events and you've got that out, because I think sometimes what happens is I've noticed it myself that I've been somewhere and I've been spending time with someone, and then you can see them shift. You can see them change, and then you think, oh, have I said something wrong? Or, whereas actually when the time comes, I think it's better to just remove yourself from the situation.
Absolutely. You're not doing anybody any favors by being there when you don't want to be there.
Yes.
You really
absolutely.
aren't.
Yeah.
But you're
absolutely.
right. I'm definitely one of those people too, where, as long as I have an out, then I don't always have to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just there in your mind.
It's there. And I know that I'm free to leave.
Yes. 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 And so can you share a significant challenge that you've faced and how you've overcome it to stay aligned with your purpose?
It's interesting. I've had a lot of significant challenges in my life, ones that are very traumatic. And so honestly, big things don't really affect me in the same way as small things do. And it's very interesting because the sky could be falling and I'm out there holding it up, because that's just how I am. But if somebody cuts me off in traffic, now I'm angry. And I mean, it has to come out somewhere is what I'm getting at. So I just feel like for me, when I start to notice these little things, like for example, if there's dishes in my sink, that means something's wrong. And I need to take a look inward because I don't leave my dishes in my sink. I just don't. So there's cues to me that, okay, now it's time to pull back and take care of myself, pull back. And what do I really need? What is missing? Am I physically tired, mentally tired? Is my soul tired? What kind of rest? What kind of recalibration? And then I act accordingly. It just depends on what it is in order to change the direction and where things are going. And there's a few other little details and things that I'm like, oh, better pay attention. This is myself saying, okay, you've had enough.
Yeah.
Need to take care.
And self-awareness is so important.
Yeah, it really is. And it's not, I think that sometimes we use self-awareness as a weapon against ourselves, as in, oh my goodness, I did this again. Or no, you know what? You notice that it's intended to help you move in a different direction because you notice it's not wrong. You did the best you could in that moment, no matter what. Yeah. But I think for me, the big thing is when I'm in my feelings or if something's happening, there's a time and a place for me to express them and let them out. But I need to do that. Otherwise, I'm ready to murder somebody who didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. And so it's coming out somewhere, like I said. So I just need to pay better attention to, okay, now it's time for me, because I tend to build it up. And so then all of a sudden, bam! The
sink is piling over with dishes.
I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. Yeah. And then I just do a reset. And then it's, sometimes I think too, like our emotions, we keep that saying, we keep our issues in our tissues. Love that saying.
Oh, I've not
Yeah.
heard that. Oh, that's
Issues in our
really
tissues.
good.
Love that. And I find it to be so true. So sometimes if I'm, mad or sad or something, I will move my body in order to move the emotion and, honor it while I'm still experiencing it, but keep it moving. So I don't want to camp in that space for very long or forever. So it is important to honor it, but also to move through it.
Mm. And then do you have a point, like have you got a tipping point where you're like, I think I'm in my own way, so then you work with other people, like do energy healing or anything like that?
I always do energy healing and I always work with other people. To me, it's like more important than going to a doctor.
Yeah.
I I
Yeah.
think that there's just certain ways that we just need to take care of ourselves,
Mm.
and I can't do everything on my own, and I'm not the best at everything. That's why people hire nutrition coaches and personal trainers and things of that nature. I need help with. I'm not doing Reiki on myself. I'm not an expert in it, so if
Yeah.
I want Reiki, I've got to use somebody else. I do a lot of ceremonies too, a lot of things to release, a lot of things to celebrate, just different rituals so that I'm honoring the energy behind whatever's happening.
I love that. That's really lovely. And you're right. Like, I mean, I think that sometimes, like I'm an energy healer, so I can quickly work through some things. But then
Yeah.
every now and then I'm like, I actually think I'm stuck, and I'll go to someone and I say, I've worked on this and da da da. And then they'll just say one thing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, yep, didn't
Yeah.
pick that up.
Well, that old saying, you can't read the label when you're inside the bottle.
Oh, see, I don't know that one either. Oh
I
my
love
God.
that one. I love that saying. I was like, oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because somebody was trying to get me to write my own bio, and I said,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, and you really can't. It's hard to see when you're in it.
Yeah, definitely. And so, with all the work that you're doing now in this new purpose-led role and or roles, do you have a particular client story that really sticks with you?
um, there isn't really anything in particular that sticks with me.
Mm,
I'm just so proud of everyone because the everybody has a different goal and a different objective. And so when people I see like the switch, the light turns on and they finally get that first sponsor, or they finally get that guest that they were looking for, or they finally reach that level. Like for me, I'm finally in my first movie. So that's the kind of thing that I see around me on a daily basis. So to pick one is like picking a favorite child.
yeah. And so, um, so if we then talk about like when you said that you see the click, the switch.
Yeah.
Is there something that you can share with us that has happened to one of your clients that all of a sudden I feel like it's like the aha moment, is it? Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
So, I'm not going to use names, but
no.
I had a client reach out to me asking me for a template for a contract. And I said, well, why do you want that? And she said, well, basically she was trying to legitimize what she was offering. And I said, whoa, 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 whoa. We need to change this thinking right now. I said, first of all, and I went through all the reasons why her pricing was legitimate. And so she ended up she was going to ask for, let's $1,000. I'm just going to throw that number out there. And she decided to double that after the conversation, and she got it. And it was all because she changed her perception on the value of what she was offering. And when she realized that, other people realized that as well. So it's really fun to see people go from, I'm trying to legitimize and, make up for it. No, that's the wrong energy. That you need to know that you are worthy of this. And it's so much bigger than even you think it is. And so it's really fun to see people have those moments where they go from, oh, I don't think I should even ask this, to doubling it and getting it. So
Yeah. Definitely in the confidence of how you say and present the offer as well, I think.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
There can be no like change and dip in your energy. It
Mm.
has to be just like you're saying, please pass the bread.
Yes.
And as
Yeah.
simple as that. And I think too that, a lot of people don't realize when they're having these conversations is to never end on money, because it's not about the money. That's just an energy that is being exchanged. So what you really want to end on is what is being exchanged. And that is the possibility and the friendship and the relationship and all of these things that are going to be deliverables and what problem you're solving for them. So if you can get back into that versus making it about the money, then you realize as well that, hey, I'm actually doing really a good thing here versus,
Mm.
oh, I'm just reaching into their pocket, because we're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's also that old school thinking, isn't it? Like years ago, that being of service, that people then would think, well, I shouldn't be charging because I'm being of service to
Yeah.
people. There was guilt and old belief systems around that.
Oh, there still is. I actually
Yeah.
had a conversation with somebody earlier today that had that exact belief. And after the end of the call, I said, well, are you telling me that a doctor is not being of service? Are you telling me that a dentist is not being of service? A teacher is not being of service?
Mm.
Exchanging your life for this and giving of your skill and your ability is being of service,
Mm.
and you are allowed to get something in return.
Yeah.
Energetically, it has to, otherwise you're ruining the flow of the universe. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I also feel like too that with that exchange, I mean, yeah, money is just energy, and that
mhm.
exchange of energy, if it doesn't happen, then the other person doesn't value what you're offering either.
No, they don't. And when people, for example, pay to be on a show versus not, the energy behind the guest is completely different.
Yeah.
And they're a lot more likely to share about it. They're a lot more likely because they take it more seriously, because
Yes.
you take it seriously. So you
Yes.
set the tone by saying, hey, this is a value. And then they
Yes.
will treat it accordingly.
Yes.
Because if you treat it like, oh, I'm just doing this to be nice, then they feel like they're doing you a favor, when in
Mhm.
fact, that is not actually the case.
Yes.
So it doesn't mean that you have to be poor because you're giving. You can
Yeah.
create impact and money at the same time.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's a really good piece of advice. Yes. Yeah. And so, if you were talking to someone and they were starting to think about and explore their passion and purpose, what advice would you give to someone? What's one or two things that you would share with them when they start their journey?
I would say, one, it doesn't have to make any sense. Just what really are you interested in? Just follow that and see where it leads you. And also, you don't need anybody else's opinion on how you
Mm.
spend your life. I'm not saying that you keep everything a secret, but not everybody deserves to know everything that you're doing. And if you really want to protect the space of where you're at and what you're trying to grow, then sometimes it's a lot easier, a lot better to just keep it to yourself while you're in that growing stage, and then you can let things happen. But the last thing that I really want to say is that people will say that you're crazy. People will not agree with you. And then when you do it, they'll ask you how you did it and how they can do it too.
Yeah.
So don't quit before the miracle, because then you're just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you'll regret it as well.
Oh, 100%. You will 100% regret it. But,
Yeah.
people don't understand. And I've been told nobody's understood most of the decisions that I've made, but they'll support me as a person. And then when I do it, they're always in awe. Like, I can't believe you did that. I'm like, why are you so shocked? I told you I was doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. But then I suppose it's their own self, limiting beliefs, and I wouldn't have the courage to do that myself, so why would you be doing that?
It does come down to, who am I? Who am I to do this? Who am I to have this? Who am I to be this? And I think ask better questions. And that would be like, who am I not to? Who else is supposed to?
Yeah.
Why not me?
Yes.
You know, those are way more powerful than,
Mhm.
well, why me?
Yes, yeah. And in Australia in particular, we have this, a very strong limiting belief of the tall poppy syndrome of don't don't blast on social media what you're doing, and don't talk about your success, and keep it quiet and be humble. And it's quite interesting because there's a lot of people that they're very successful, but they just don't share it. And you start to talk to them and like, oh my gosh, how come I didn't know this?
Yeah.
It's quite interesting.
It is interesting. And one of my mentors says it isn't bragging if you can back it up.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and the thing is, you know, I'm like that too. I don't really talk about a lot of things that I do or what I've accomplished. But I also think that if I don't share, then I'm not letting other people know what's possible.
Yeah.
I'm not letting other people think about what's possible for them. And by not sharing, who am I really serving? It's not bragging, it's sharing joy.
Yeah. And in the delivery, the ego doesn't need to be there. The ego
No.
can be on the outside of the door, and you can deliver it in a way that actually there's confidence in what you're delivering, but there's no ego there.
You know, it's interesting. I think about a friend I have in New York, and he's actually quite famous now, an actor. But before he was famous, he used to have what I would consider a big ego because he was self-promoting all the time. But the thing is he would not be where he is now if he didn't self-promote. So, I mean, that was part of the process, and he knew it, and he did not care what anybody else thought. He was willing to just put himself out there, and now he's pretty famous, and he's living his dream because he wasn't afraid to promote himself. And I think about that quite often, because what if I wasn't afraid to? Then what would happen for me?
So is there still fear that comes up for you in times of promoting things that you're doing?
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
I feel like I don't want to share. I feel like, you know, I rarely watch things I'm in because I don't like to watch myself. However, how do you get better? By watching yourself. So there's that too. But yeah, I mean, I will promote, like my books and things of that nature, but also because other people are involved in that. And if I don't, then I'm doing them a disservice.
Yeah.
So for example, when I was filming for this movie, I had my hair and makeup done, obviously. And so when I was posting pictures so far behind the scenes, I'm including the makeup artist and the hairdresser getting their, you know, their work out there too, because they did a fantastic job. And that's a way I can say thank you. So why wouldn't I promote that? So it gives me an
Yeah.
opportunity to make it about the team versus about me. And that's my workaround.
Yeah.
So I can do it.
I always say to people, you know, this show has got nothing to do with me. It's about the guest. I'm just here, just hosting it.
Yes, but you are also an expert, and you also add value to the conversation.
Yeah.
Even though you're leading the conversation, you're very much a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. 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 Okay. So we're coming up to the holiday season, as I mentioned before. So what things have you got plans? Are you going away? What are you doing over the break?
So actually, I just moved back to the Pacific Northwest, and that's where my dad and my stepmom live, and also my cousin and my aunt. And so we're all getting together for the holidays. We're all going to be in town at the same time. So this will be the first time, and I don't even know how many years, that we've all been together at the same time in the same place.
Wow.
So I'm really excited because I don't have to travel this year, because I always would fly home to see my parents.
Yeah.
But this year I don't have to. I can actually walk there if I needed to. It's that
Wow.
close. That's how close they live.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, but because I live in a small town, it's kind of like a Hallmark movie. That's what my town looks like and seems
Mhm.
like. So there's all kinds of little fun events that I get to do, like the tree lighting ceremony downtown and,
Yeah.
hot chocolate with Santa and all these fun things that I get to do that I would never have done
Yeah.
anywhere else because
Yeah.
it wasn't available. So I'm really excited for this year because it's a year of firsts.
Yeah, beautiful. That sounds amazing. So, can you believe that we've actually only got a couple of minutes left? So,
Yay.
I would love
Can't.
to ask you the same question that I ask all of my guests before we finish our conversation. So, what is one lesson or truth that you've learned on your journey that you wish you had known earlier?
It's actually something that it's twofold. One is that it costs more than you expect it will, and it will take longer than you think it will, and whatever it is for you. And
Mm,
that you are exactly on time for where you need to be. And by comparing yourself to other people's journeys, you're doing yourself a disservice.
mm,
All you need to think about is how you showed up for yourself and how you're up leveling yourself, your business. Because I think too, the other part of that is that you can only grow to the level that you are mentally, spiritually, and also physically. So, there's this whole thing where yeah, you got to take care of the whole being. You can't just expect one part to take off and everything else go to the wayside.
mm,
And, sometimes our problems with business are actually something that's going on in some other part of our life. So
mhm.
if we are aware of that, then we can just sort of circle around and be a whole person versus I'm part here, I'm part there. We're one person. We can be all the things at once.
Yeah, I love that. And that whole, trust in divine timing. When it's meant to
100%.
come to us, it will come to us in the right time when we're in the right place.
Exactly. It's funny that you'd say that because my saying when I'm feeling out of alignment or I'm getting into the why is it like this or why am I, then I always say I take a deep breath and I say all is in divine order. And I keep
Mm,
saying it to myself until I calm down. It's exactly how it's supposed to be. And it really helps calm me down because I can't make good decisions from an elevated state anyway. So, and I can't see as much. We literally become blind to opportunities when we're not in the best frame of mind.
yeah, yeah, that's amazing. What a way to end this amazing conversation. Thank you so much. I feel like you've shared so much that I have no doubt the audience is going to probably be taking notes or rewatching it because there's a lot in there. So I
Oh, thank
really
you.
feel blessed to have spent this time with you. And I also feel blessed to just be part of the platform that you've created as well.
Oh, thank you. I'm happy to have you with us and be a part of the team and family. And I love your show. And I didn't tell you, I love your intro. It's so good.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'd also like to thank all of our amazing and dedicated audience, supporters, and also the sponsors of the show. I hope that you all have an amazing rest of the week, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. And thank you again, Julie Ann.
Thank you.